Hello, folks. I'm OdinSpack, and welcome back to 33 years and counting of my favorite games. Today is part 14. I'm taking you back the previous decade. Well, I mean, it's 2022 now, so like 2 decades ago now, I suppose. It's 2009. I'm saying previous decade from the last part. So if you joined us for the last part, then this is the. Anyway, this is dumb. I'm gonna keep going here. 2009. This year is kind of like an important year for me, because this was my first full year of doing Let's Play content, which has kind of like changed my life. doing this whole online content creation thing. This wasn't the first year I did Let's Playing, but this is the first full year of doing it, and I look fondly back on 2009 just for kind of all of the different projects I did that really helped, like, my channel take off for the time. I mean, now I know it's slowed down and that, but at the time, it did take off. That was when I did my Oracle of Seasons and Ages playthroughs, Kirby 64, uh, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So that was a big year, 2009. So I look fondly back on it. But when I'm looking at my list of games here, my favorite games from 2009, very short list. I only have one honorable mention on here. So this is going to be a much shorter video, especially compared to last time. So I'm trying to stretch it out here a bit. Why don't we get going into the honorable mention? And my honorable mention for 2009 is the legendary Starfy. It's a Nintendo DS game. I actually didn't play this one until last year. I streamed it. I tried streaming it alongside Kid Icarus Uprising. I ended up falling off of that game. Didn't. I've tried to enjoy Kid Icarus Uprising, and I just have never really been able to get into it that much. You'll probably have noticed it wasn't mentioned at all. But I don't want to get into that. I want to talk into about why I like the legendary Starfy. So it reminds me a lot of Kirby. I feel like it's fair to make some comparisons to Kirby with the legendary Starfy. This game is like, I think it's like the sixth in the series. It's one of those weird entries where like North America didn't get one until way later. So there's like a ton of these games. But yeah, I think this is like game 6. I could be wrong on that. I just know it's not like the first game. It's definitely deep into the series, this game. But it's a really neat platformer in that like you're a starfish, so like most, I would not all, but a lot of the gameplay is like water gameplay, and it's a 2D platformer. You would think, 2D platformers in water not really usually the best, but it works. It definitely does work, and there's lots of levels that aren't underwater that have unique mechanics as well. The one takeaway from this game is like just the bizarre story and interaction with the characters. It's really goofy. It's a really goofy game, um, and some of the characters are just like really funny. It definitely doesn't take itself seriously at all. But it's not a difficult game. It's like a fun, just pick up and play platformer. Uh, and it's got some like Metroid-esque qualities in that like there is some backtracking when you get some later power-ups, but for the most part, it's pretty streamlined. So it's just a fun one just to kind of crank through. It's not a very long game, but it is fun. So there you go. There's my honorable mention. Let's get into the medals for 2009, just like that. Bronze medal. I have for you Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I played the 360 version, but I believe it was also on PS3 and I assume PC. If not, then it definitely is by now. I got to imagine. This is when I really got into the like online first-person shooter like genre. I had enjoyed first-person shooters back in the day. I mentioned last video I really liked Perfect Dark growing up. I never really played Halo a lot. I had played a little bit of it. Had played a little bit of Halo 3 online, but not much. But Modern Warfare 2 is really where I stepped in and I had a ton of fun with it. I remember renting it at first. Maybe I played it on my brother's Xbox first, but I eventually got it for myself. This game actually, I bought a an Xbox 360 wireless adapter just so I could play this game online because I didn't have I didn't have Ethernet capability from where I was gaming from at the time. It's kind of funny looking back at that. I wouldn't want to play Wi-Fi now, but I had to. Um, so I was Wi-Fi warrior. But I didn't play. This is another instance where I didn't play the campaign. This was strictly an online experience for me. But it really got me into like the competitive first-person shooters, as far as like larger like death matches against other players. I didn't experience too much of the online vulgarity because I typically just played with friends, and we didn't even. I think sometimes we would use like Xbox Live, but I think this was mostly the Skype era, and we just talked on Skype and then played. It was way easier. Um, but it was a lot of fun, like just ranking up in that, unlocking weapons. I was the I was the annoying guy who used the riot shield and ran into you and usually died because you don't have a gun. You literally have a shield. It's not really much of anything. But I did have a lot of fun playing Modern Warfare 2. I never did play the original one, so this is where I jumped in, and it was a blast. So I would play it again, honestly. I think it's fine. I know a lot of people probably on this channel maybe not too much into the FPS genre, although I have kind of played my fair share of shooters on here, so maybe not. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong crowd here, but maybe you do appreciate it more than I'm saying here. But anyway, there's Modern Warfare 2. My silver medal for 2009 is another game that I didn't finish in 2009. And eventually ended up finishing it later, and that is Punch Out. That is the Nintendo Wii. It's not like a remake. It's like a reboot. I think reboot is the appropriate term here because it's. I mean, like it goes along the same formula, but it's more of a reboot than it is a remake, and I wouldn't call it a sequel. But it's definitely it definitely has the same formula as like the original Punch Out game, and it has some elements of Super Punch Out. Not really though. It's mostly in line with the original Punch Out on NES. This game I think is a rare example where I think this game's just gonna always stand the test of time, just in looks, gameplay, and audio. It's so bold in everything that it does. Like the music it's so pumps you up. The gameplay is like a puzzle. All the Punch Out games are kind of like a puzzle where you're learning the opponent's pattern and figuring out how to counter them, figuring out when to dodge, when to block, when to punch when they punch. That's a lot of the game, so that's where the puzzle element comes into it, is learning. I mean, it's a boxing game, but Punch Out's always felt like a puzzle game to me as far as that goes, because you're always trying to figure out like, how their patterns work. Um, and really, the game just looks fantastic. Like it's on the Nintendo Wii, but it's one of those instances where just the way it's drawn, it just doesn't look bad. Like even if you're playing it in composite, 360, 480p, like it still looks great. So this is one of those ones where I'm really surprised Nintendo hasn't like ported this to anything modern. Yeah, I'm surprised this isn't on like the Switch, or I'm surprised it didn't make it to the Wii U. Um, it feels like only a matter of time before maybe they make another one, or maybe they port this game. But it is definitely an experience like you have to play. This is one of those games where you should play it on your own and not watch a playthrough of it. Mainly because you will be spoiled into. Like, I'm not saying that's gonna like solve the game for you and figure out how it works, but I feel like a lot of the game is like learning yourself how to figure out how to beat these boxers. And once you do, it's a really satisfying experience. I will say, I lost so many times on this game. Like this is probably the hardest Punch Out. And like Mike Tyson's Punch Out on the NES, like Mike Tyson's really hard. But I think overall, Punch Out Wii is a harder game. I think it's probably the hardest in the series, and I think that's just due to like the second mode of the game, which I don't want to get into. But there's like a second mode that is just like it's crazy. Like it's so difficult. But it feels good to beat it. I don't know if I'll go back to this one anytime soon. This is one of those kind of like play through it once and enjoy what you had. But I can see people wanting to pick up and play this a bunch of times because there's this exhibition mode with all bunch of challenges. Like there's lots to master in this game. So definitely play Punch Out Wii any way you can because it is a fantastic Wii game. Um, so yeah, there's my silver medal. Gold medal is also a Wii game. It was already mentioned in this video. My gold medal goes to New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which I did mention at the beginning of the video that I did do a Let's Play of it in 2009. That may have tipped you off that it may have been coming up here. But yes, it is my gold medal. Going back to the Let's Play that I did do, that is definitely part of the reason why I like this game so much. It definitely has a big nostalgia factor for me because this was the first project where like I was dedicated to doing this whole online video thing. Like I bought a Dazzle, which was the video recording device at the time. That's what people used. I bought that so I could do projects like that because before that I was using emulators or anything on PC basically to do any kind of recording. So I had to buy a device to be able to record things off my TV without using a camcorder. No camcorder LPs for me. Um, and I did a blind Let's Play or a first playthrough, whatever they're called these days, where the day the game came out, I did a day one Let's Play, which was very taboo back then, but now people do like day -3 Let's Plays, so it's not even a big deal anymore. Nobody cares. 2 days before a game comes out, the final boss video will be uploaded to YouTube. But back then, nobody really did that. It was kind of taboo, but I love Mario so much. I was like, I don't care. I'm doing a Let's Play of this game because I really want to. And I think it was well received. I know a lot of people didn't want to watch it at first because they wanted to experience the game for themselves. But I think the pace at which I uploaded the game really led well to kind of receiving, a good response from the audience. And I know I really haven't really talked much about the game, but I just need you guys to know, like this game was like really kind of helped define my whole online experience. It's one of like those big games that I did that really helped to get me to know people, and this is the first project my wife watched. She didn't know who I was, and this is the first project she watched of mine. Like, you know what I mean? Like it has that sentimentality to it. Um, all that aside, that aside, game wise, New Super Mario Bros. Wii doesn't really change the wheel too much. It's a new Mario game, but at the time for me, that's all I needed because there wasn't Mario had kind of taken a back seat from doing 2D games. There was Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and then Super Mario Galaxy. I think was like the year before this. There was no 2D Mario's. There was New Super Mario Bros. On DS. However, I don't think I had played that yet. I think I ended up playing that after this game, so I didn't own that. So I hadn't really experienced it. This was my first new 2D Mario platformer since, well, I guess since Super Mario World. I mean, or if you want to count Yoshi's Island, you could count that too. But there was no traditional 2D Mario game in such a long time for me. So I was like super excited for this, and it felt like playing a new version of Super Mario Bros. 3 because it kind of is styled that way. The Koopalings were back in the game. The worlds were divided like world by world, like Mario 3 is done. It's not all one connected world like the Super Mario World is. They were separated, so it kind of had that vibe to it. And just the music at the time, I've heard the new Super Mario Bros. Soundtrack, you know, endless times now, especially because of Super Mario Maker. But back then the soundtrack, I loved it, and the castle theme, I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a little brief nod to Super Mario World in it. I don't know if it really does. It kind of sounds like it does, but it's just a solid Mario experience, just a solid 2D Mario experience. It's probably my favorite in the new series of games. U comes close, but I don't think it'll top it. Again, kind of what I talked about with the nostalgia and the sentimental factor that Wii has for me. I don't think that will top it. 2 definitely won't. DS definitely won't. But it's just a solid 2D Mario game, and sometimes that's all you need. It doesn't need to do anything amazing. Um, I just enjoy playing Mario platformers. That's kind of all about boils down to, and this is just a solid entry in the series. So, and the multiplayer's not great. I will say that this is the first one to have multiplayer, like at the same time, and it is not that good. I will say that's the one thing against it, but they tried, so at least there's that. And I mean, it was fun to mess around with it, but is it fun to play through the whole game? Probably not. All right, that's gonna do it for today's video. I will see you next time where we tackle 2008. So until then, I've been OdinSpack. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.